guys, welcome back, and today we're checking out another commenter suggestion. Today it's going to be Overwatch vs TF2, but explained with food. Okay, pretty self-explanatory title. I guess let's just go ahead and jump right into it and see what he's got to say.
I think Overwatch vs TF2 is like making dessert. Playing Overwatch is like you're baking a gourmet cake. There's 6 of you, you're in a kitchen together, and every chef has one specific cake ingredient that they're adding.
Do not add Hanzo on the ingredient list. I like that.
Tank puts in the flour. Then the DPSs add the sugar and the eggs and the oil. Then the supports add the baking soda and the chocolate that brings it all together. All 6 chefs here must work in combination to nail this recipe. And if they do, this cake will be one of the best you've ever eaten. That's Overwatch. Team Fortress.
Okay, yeah, I can definitely get what he's saying here. Overwatch is definitely a game that's focused on teamwork. To really maximize your potential in that game, you gotta be working as a team. You gotta let the tanks tank, the healers gotta heal, the DPS has gotta put out that damage. So I definitely get what he's saying.
Fortress 2 is like eating a candy bar. Candy bars just taste great on their own. Like, you don't need any other foods to make a Snickers taste good. But okay, let's say you're eating a Snickers and then you see 2 other guys eating TF2 candy bars. And so you say to them, hey, let's team up. Let's merge our candy bars into one super dish. And they're like, yeah. So you throw in your Snickers and that guy throws in Dem M&Ms and he throws in a Meta Cookie and that guy adds Hershey's Weapons Guy, and then, well, then it just tastes like a big chocolatey mess. Here's the thing, a Snickers by itself tastes like a big chocolatey mess. So does Hershey's syrup. Combining candy bars together doesn't make them taste any better. It's still just a pile of delicious chocolate either way. That's TF2. So why are these games so different? Well, Overwatch characters are fundamentally designed to stay next to each other. If you want the protection from a tank's shield or to be healed by a support, you have to stand next to the tank or the support. It's just like the ingredients of a cake. They are designed to taste better when you mix them together. So if you're Junkrat, you're going to be more powerful by sticking with your team and utilizing their buffs. This is true of ultimates too. They are designed to be far more powerful when you coordinate them with your teammates. So ults primarily serve to reward teamwork. This is what makes Overwatch so satisfying, because if your team works well together, you're rewarded by becoming substantially more powerful, and it's a rush. So teamwork is what makes Overwatch fun, but these super powerful team synergies also mean you have very limited freedom to play this game your own way. You really can't be effective with a solo playstyle in Overwatch because by design, you are far less powerful without your teammates' buffs. This gets worse when the metagame has a clearly defined optimal composition.
Yeah, Overwatch is a game that's actually really bad with that, where certain team compositions form a meta and that's it. That's what everybody runs. That's what you see repeatedly. You just have to deal with the same characters over and over again because that's what's strong at that point in the game. So, you know, during that time period, that just happens to be what dominates. So that's what everybody plays. And I can definitely tell with all of the gear you get in Team Fortress, all the weapons, all the cosmetic items that all have different little effects. And you can mix and match all those gear so that regardless of what class you're playing, you can kind of tailor it to your own playstyle rather than be forced to rely on your teammates to make your character work. Okay.
Like dive. In this case, the synergies between specific characters are so strong that you are at a substantial disadvantage if you play anything else. Hey, you guys want to make a red velvet cake today? I love making red velvet. What the fuck? No! Chocolate cake is the only dessert in the meta. I'm reporting you. The second big problem is that
that's what it feels like
is sometimes so crucial to winning. If you have just 1 or 2 bad teammates, that can ruin the entire game. Like if you were making a cake and your tank carefully adds the flour and then you perfectly add in sugar and then this dude's just eating Hans Oreos. Now the entire cake you were making is gonna taste awful because that guy is refusing to actually do his part of the recipe. And since you get random teammates game to game, it's totally hit or miss of actually having a team that coordinates well and has fun. It's like you're at a restaurant where half the meals cause horrible vomiting, but the other half it's like the best steak you've ever had. But people keep eating Overwatch because goddamn dude, the rush when your team pulls it all off is just incomparable. Like every chef on the team just nailed their job and we made a cake so good it made Jeff Kaplan cry. In TF2, most characters aren't designed to benefit their teammates in any way. Soldier and Demo and Scout, etc. don't have any core moves that benefit their teammates, and so you can run off on your own without being any fundamentally weaker. And this means your effectiveness as a player is only dictated by you, not by your teammates' behaviors. TF2 characters are candy bars. They taste great on their own. They don't need anyone else's flavors. Engineer and Medic are the two obvious exceptions here. They are very much designed to benefit teammates and help you win, but winning the game just isn't really a priority in TF2. People don't really care about the objective itself.
Winning the game is not a priority in TF2.
It just serves as the dedicated spot where everybody's gonna blow each other up. The game almost discourages you from trying too hard to win by frequently scrambling the teams. Or even if you and two other guys are like, hey, you wanna team up and defend the objective? Yeah, that sounds fun. Hey, cut that out! Auto balance! So inevitably, the map is full of spies and pyros and snipers roaming around having whatever little adventures pop up, and 90% of the time, you'll never properly coordinate with anyone. Don't get me wrong, teamwork is still really fun in TF2, but unlike Overwatch, it's not the entirety of the game, and instead, you have this incredible freedom to play in whatever style you want. Plus, TF2 maps are usually 12v12 or more, whereas Overwatch is only 6v6. This means that every individual Overwatch player has a larger impact on their team's product, so there's more pressure for you to follow the recipe and not be a dick. There are, of course, exceptions to all of this. Teamwork in TF2 is definitely effective when it's done well, and the competitive modes like Sixes or Highlander are a great example of this, and there's definitely some Overwatch players who do find success by playing separately from their teams. But the underlying design of these games funnels players into a teamwork mentality or a solo mentality, so that 90% of the time in Overwatch you need to stick to the recipe, and 90% of the time in TF2 you're in a Snickers dance party. Outside of teamwork, I think the games mostly differ in how you can customize your experience. For example, customizing each character. In TF2, they treat each character—
Well, I mean, there's no contest there, right? I mean, as far as customization goes, TF2's the king of the ring. I mean, Overwatch doesn't even hold a candle to TF2 when it comes to customization, so...
like a fruit. And let's say you taste each one and then you go, man, I love apples. That's my favorite. I want to eat apples all day long. And TF2 goes, all right, well, I'm about to blow your fucking mind because we have different ways to eat apples. We got apple pie and apple sauce and baked apples and apple fritters and tons more. This is how TF2 classes work. There's only 9 classes, but each one has 3 changeable weapon slots with hundreds of possible combinations. So if I love the taste of Demo Banana, I can mix it up and swap in Scottish Resistance and now cover choke points. It's similar, but it's customized. Or now I swap in Sorted Boots and I'm playing Demo Banana Night. And you're like, this is awesome. They took a food I loved, Demo Banana, and they're giving me different ways to cook that core flavor. Whereas Overwatch is like, you guys, we have 29 different fruits and veggies to choose from. And I'm like, oh my god, there are some really genuinely unique options here, like a McCreecumber, or a Reaper Simmon, or a Wrecking Bell Pepper. Hey, get out of here. But Overwatch—
I love this guy and his food puns.
Doesn't give you multiple ways to cook each fruit. You're only allowed to eat them raw. So let's say you try them all out and you go, Widow Mango is my favorite fruit. I love this flavor. And you're having a great time eating Widow Mango, but you might say to Overwatch, hey, I love the flavor of Widow Mango. Could you give me some ways to customize my favorite fruit? And Overwatch says, here's a baguette. And you're like, that's cool, man, but I really like Widow Mango. Like, I would love to eat that same flavor, but in different styles. Like, a new way to enjoy the food that I already like. And they're like, here's a durian.
A durian.
Overwatch doesn't let you customize your favorite characters. Instead, they just introduce new characters altogether.
I get what he's saying, and I completely agree with it. Overwatch would be a completely different beast if you were able to have a couple things that you could change that had different statistics or something on your gear or something. Like, you know, I'm just thinking off the top of my head, some of my favorite characters, it would be great if I could swap out their primary weapon and have a slight change to how it functions or something. If you're Mei, right? Like, let's say you can have a gun that actually freezes people as crowd control, but does very little damage. Or you could swap to a gun that does a ton of damage, but has no freeze at all. That way you could have at least an option for the playstyle. It still is generally the same. You're still playing with the same weapon, but there would be some variation there. That would be awesome for Overwatch, and it's not there. Being able to swap out Junkrat's grenade launcher, kind of like you swap out Demo Man's grenade launcher, to have different functions for the way it operates, that would be amazing. Not gonna lie, seeing all this stuff with TF2 kind of makes me a little jealous as an Overwatch player.
This is actually a really great thing if you're a player who wants a large variety in fundamental playstyles, but it also means you might get tired of that hero that you really, really love a lot faster than you might otherwise. Even more broadly, TF2 lets the community customize the maps that you can play. When Valve released TF2, it's like they opened a restaurant and they said, hey, we made a bunch of food and here's our menu of dishes to choose from, but the kitchen's unlocked. Feel free to make whatever else you want. So everybody ran into the kitchen and went nuts, and over time the community has cooked all sorts of insane new dishes for the TF2 menu. Like one dude went, you guys, I packed 10 scoops of ice cream into one bowl. I call it a 10x crit server. And another guy's like, I took soldier flour and pieces of toast and created jump maps. And you're like, what the fuck? That's actually delicious. And another dude's like, you guys, I took that sandwich and I made it really, really tall. And that's like a real thing that people play. Called Higher Tower.
I mean, you've got to give Valve credit where credit is due, being so open with the modding community, allowing people to come in, releasing Source Filmmaker, letting the community come in and make their own content. Like, biggest brain idea ever. I mean, the community has kept this game alive for decades now. It's crazy. It's a genius move to let people make their own content, share it with each other, be free and open with all the tools. Basically, Blizzard's not going to let you do that. They're not going to show you their toolbox and let you make your own stuff with Blizzard properties. They're not going to do that.
It's just Hightower, but the tower is really tall now. So over the years, people took TF2's map editor and custom servers and created crazy new genres like jump maps, Saxton Hail mod, randomizer, tons more. The community expanded TF2's restaurant menu to have almost infinite dishes to choose from, and this has drastically increased the game's longevity and enjoyment. But when Overwatch opened their restaurant, they said, here's our menu of food, you can eat these specific things. And over time, they've added new items to the menu like 3v3 or brawls. And these dishes all taste great, but the point is that Overwatch, and only Overwatch, controls the entire menu. And as a result, it's a pretty limited menu. Like if you go in there and you try to order a 12v12 match, they will say, sorry, but 12v12 isn't on our menu. Why don't you try our 6v6? And I'm like, I have, man, and it's great, but I thought it'd be fun to make my own type of meal. And they're like, here's a durian. This isn't so much a flaw of Overwatch, it's just a big missed opportunity. They don't give the community tools to make unique maps and modes, and this unnecessarily limits the game's menu of options. And it's especially frustrating because Blizzard's older games did do this. Warcraft 3 is legendary because of custom maps.
Old school Blizzard stuff was really cool, man. I'm not gonna lie, I've spent a fair share of time in my youth doing the original StarCraft map editor. Was incredible. How many of you guys remember the old StarCraft maps, right? Where they made tower defense games, RPG games. I remember playing a Dragon Ball Z RPG game in StarCraft. Some companies do support good modding communities, and those games typically have a longer lifespan, better content, definitely higher quality mods rather than some janky stuff.
Blizzard made these incredible RTS ingredients and then said, hey, the kitchen door is unlocked, go make whatever you want. And so some frog started a 5v5 eating contest and literally invented Dota. And another dude invented tower defense and hero arenas and a million other iconic games. Warcraft 3 made the ingredients and the community made the menu. And it sucks when you see Overwatch's ingredients, which are so creative and cool, and you just wonder what kind of amazing meals we might be eating if Overwatch just let us play with our food. At this point, I play more TF2, but it just depends on how I'm feeling, right? Like if it's the end of a long day and I want to dick around, play my favorite character, and not worry about teammates, then TF2 is the perfect experience for me. But Overwatch can be fucking awesome. The characters and ultimates are super creative, and if you have a great team, the feeling of working together and accomplishing a plan is one of the best feelings in gaming. Eating a gourmet cake is always going to taste better than eating a Snickers. It just really sucks if your cake has Hanzo in it. Hey, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, subscribing to my channel is like getting free Snickers sent to your house.
All right, that was Overwatch versus TF2, but explained with food. Really enjoyed that video. I myself am a cook by profession right now, so I'm around food all the time. really enjoyed that he uses food as like a descriptor and a way to visualize what he's talking about. I like he's got a little pepper as his little mascot that he puts eyes on. Overall, though, I agree. I completely agree with what he's saying. The way that the games focus you to play a certain way, where Overwatch focuses you definitely more towards teamwork, while it seems like TF2 is a little bit more free and open. So I definitely know what he's saying. There's two different styles of gameplay. They're both absolutely delicious. Overwatch and TF2 just happen to be two different beasts. Two different flavors, if you will. And I really like doing the reaction for it. And I hope you guys enjoyed watching the reaction. If you did, go ahead and click that like button. If you're not subscribed already, go ahead and consider subscribing to the channel. Really helps me out. And leave a comment down below. Let me know what other videos I should be reacting to, and I'll get to them. As always, guys, thanks so much for stopping by. Thanks for watching the video. Take care of yourselves, and have a great day.